It's July 15th, 2015, and a frail 94-year-old man shuffles into a courtroom in Lüneburg, Germany, leaning on a walker, his eyes sunken beneath a lifetime of secrets. Oskar Groening, once an SS guard at Auschwitz, faces a hushed gallery of survivors, journalists, and judges, charged with complicity in the murder of 300,000 Jews, crimes committed 7 decades earlier. The air crackles with tension as an elderly survivor grips her daughter's hand, watching a man who once stood by while her world was destroyed. Groening's trial is a fleeting glimpse of justice, a moment when the past claws its way into the present. But he's just one of many. Over 5,000 Auschwitz guards, men who enforced the Holocaust's deadliest camp, slipped away after World War II, their roles in history's darkest chapter, fading into the chaos of a broken Europe. How did so many escape accountability? Why did it take so long to pursue them? Welcome to Through the Ages, where we unravel history's darkest atrocities. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to join us as we track down the Auschwitz guards who got away and reveal the forces that let them vanish. Auschwitz wasn't merely a camp. It was a vast, meticulously organized death factory sprawling across the Polish countryside, where over 1 million lives, mostly Jewish, were extinguished between 1940 and 1945. Its guards were the backbone of this nightmare, a diverse group of men drawn into the Nazi machine. They weren't all ideologues or sadists. Many were ordinary citizens, bakers, teachers, laborers, reshaped into agents of terror. Their roles varied. Some manned watchtowers, rifles in hand. Others, like the sorter guards, cataloged the shoes, glasses, and gold fillings taken from the dead. And a few, the Blockführers, ruled the barracks with barked orders and brutality. Above them loomed the camp's elite, figures like Rudolf Höss, the commandant who perfected the use of Zyklon B gas. Together, these 7,000 SS members kept Auschwitz running, their daily routines ensuring the machinery of genocide never stopped. When the war ended in 1945, the Third Reich lay in ruins, but justice was uneven. Of those 7,000 guards, fewer than 800 ever faced a courtroom. That leaves over 5,000 who evaded reckoning, melting back into civilian life or fleeing abroad. Some returned to quiet German villages, resuming jobs and raising families as if the barbed wire and smokestacks were a distant dream. Others escaped via ratlines to Argentina, Brazil, or Syria, cloaking their pasts in new names and forged papers. Their escape wasn't just a failure of pursuit. It was a symptom of a world desperate to move on, leaving a trail of unanswered questions about accountability and memory. Oskar Groening was a 21-year-old accountant when he donned the SS uniform in 1942, eager to serve Hitler's vision. Stationed at Auschwitz, he didn't wield a gun or guard prisoners directly. Instead, he sat at a desk, counting the money and valuables stolen from those marched to the gas chambers, piles of Reichsmarks, wedding rings, and children's keepsakes. Known as the bookkeeper of Auschwitz, Groening turned human loss into Nazi profit, a cog in the camp's economic wheel. He saw the selections, the screams, the smoke rising from crematoria, yet later insisted he was just following orders. When the war ended, he slipped into obscurity, working at a glass factory in Lower Saxony, marrying and raising 2 sons who knew nothing of his past. Decades later, in the 1980s, Groening spoke out, not from remorse, but to rebut Holocaust deniers. His candid accounts of Auschwitz's horrors appeared in interviews and films, yet justice remained distant. It wasn't until 2015, at age 94, that German prosecutors charged him as an accessory to 300,000 murders, arguing his bookkeeping enabled the camp's atrocities. The trial gripped the world. Survivors testified through tears, cameras captured Groening's stooped figure, and the verdict, 4 years in prison, marked a symbolic win. But he died in 2018 before serving time, a stark reminder of justice delayed. His story begs the question, if it took 70 years to try Groening, what became of the thousands who never faced a judge? Johann Kremer's tale is bleaker, his hands bloodier. A respected anatomy professor with a medical degree, Kremer joined Auschwitz's staff in August 1942, turning science into a weapon. He conducted selections at the train ramps, deciding who lived and who died, and performed grotesque experiments, injecting prisoners with phenol or dissecting their organs while they still breathed, all to study disease for Nazi research. His diary, captured post-war, is a cold testament to his deeds. September 5, 1942. Attended my first special action, excellent material for my studies. These materials were human beings, their agony reduced to data points. After Germany's surrender, Kremer returned to Münster, resuming his medical career as if nothing had changed. For 15 years, he lived freely until 1960, when a survivor's tip led to his arrest. His trial exposed the depth of his cruelty. Witnesses recounted his calm demeanor as he condemned thousands. Yet his punishment was light. 5 years served of a 10-year sentence, released in 1965. Kremer died a free man in 1979. His case a chilling echo of the thousands who escaped justice entirely. How many other doctors, guards, and clerks walked away, their crimes lost to time? The mass escape of Auschwitz guards wasn't accidental. It was enabled by a shifting world. As World War II gave way to the Cold War, hunting Nazis took a back seat to fighting communism. In West Germany, the 1949 founding of the Federal Republic prioritized stability over retribution. Amnesty laws released thousands of low-ranking Nazis, while former SS men found jobs in government or industry. Across the Atlantic, the CIA and other agencies saw value in ex-Nazis' anti-Soviet expertise. Klaus Barbie, a Gestapo officer dubbed the Butcher of Lyon, was spirited to Bolivia in 1951 with U.S. help, his war crimes traded for intelligence. This realpolitik had a ripple effect. The United Nations War Crimes Commission, launched in 1943 to document Nazi atrocities, compiled dossiers on thousands, including Groening and Kremer, but was defunded in 1948 as Cold War priorities shifted. In 1947, British authorities detained Groening briefly, only to release him as focus turned elsewhere. By the 1950s, most captured SS members were free, their pasts erased by the need for a united front against the USSR. Justice became a casualty of geopolitics, leaving survivors to watch as perpetrators rebuilt their lives. Amid this silence, some refused to give up. The Wiesenthal Center, founded by a Holocaust survivor in 1977, led the charge to find Nazi fugitives. Wiesenthal, the Nazi hunter, tracked leads across continents, from Buenos Aires to Damascus, ensuring names like Adolf Eichmann didn't fade. In the U.S., prosecutor Eli Rosenbaum hunted war criminals into the 21st century, often battling bureaucratic resistance. A turning point came in 2011 with John Demjanjuk's conviction. A Sobibor guard held accountable not for specific acts, but for his role in a death camp. This legal shift spurred Germany to prosecute aging Auschwitz guards, like Groening and Reinhold Hanning, convicted in 2016 at 94. Yet these efforts were marred by time. Survivors like Eva Kor, who confronted Groening in court, spoke of the anguish of waiting decades. Her forgiveness of him a personal act, not absolution for the system that failed. From 1946 to 2005, Germany investigated 140,000 Nazi suspects, but only 6,656 were convicted, often with minimal sentences. As the last perpetrators aged, justice became a race against mortality, and the finish line was slipping away. As the 2010s drew to a close, Germany's courtrooms buzzed with a final push for justice. Prosecutors faced men like Reinhold Hanning, a 94-year-old former Auschwitz guard, convicted in 2016 for aiding 170,000 murders. Families of victims filled the galleries, their faces etched with decades of waiting. Some wept quietly, others stared in silence as verdicts were read. Outside, journalists swarmed, capturing the spectacle of history's last Nazis brought to account. Hanning's frail figure, slumped in a wheelchair, contrasted with the weight of his past. Yet he offered no apology, only a murmur of regret. For some survivors, like Eva Kor, who faced Oskar Groening in 2015, these moments brought a flicker of closure. For others, they stirred fresh pain, a reminder of the 5,000-plus guards who never stood trial. The aftermath was a tangle of reactions. In Israel, Holocaust memorials saw crowds light candles for the million lost at Auschwitz, their prayers mingling with debates over whether these late convictions mattered. In Germany, schoolchildren visited trial sites, grappling with their nation's past, while far-right groups whispered that the prosecutions were overzealous. Across the Atlantic, news anchors replayed clips of Groening's testimony, sparking talk shows where pundits clashed over justice's delay. The Wiesenthal Center, tireless in its hunt, issued statements vowing to track every last fugitive. But even they admitted time was running out. Most of the 5,000 had died free, their names fading into obscurity. What became of those who escaped? Some, like Johann Kremer, lived quietly in German towns, their neighbors unaware of their Auschwitz days. Others vanished to South America, their SS tattoos hidden under new lives. The Cold War's shadow lingered. Files on suspects gathered dust in archives, untouched as nations prioritized new enemies. By 2020, only a handful of trials remained, each a faint echo of a promise unkept. The question hung heavy. Had justice been served, or had history simply moved on? For the families of Auschwitz's victims, the answer wasn't clear. The trials ended, the cameras left, but the weight of those 5,000 free men and the million they helped silence stayed behind.